She didn't know the maid was her real daughter. What happened next was shocking. The morning sun lit up the quiet suburban neighborhood as birds chirped harmoniously in the background. In the spacious yet tastefully adorned villa of Madame Serafina Kingsley, everything looked perfect on the surface. A respected businesswoman in her late 50s, she was the face of elegance and success. Her home reflected her image, pristine, luxurious, and guarded. But deep within those walls, there was a silence no luxury could fill, a void that had haunted her for 30 long years. Serafina had it all: wealth, power, social admiration. But behind the grand chandeliers and velvet drapes lay a secret so deep, even she dared not remember it fully. Years ago, before her name meant anything in the fashion world, she had made a painful decision. A decision no mother ever wants to face. She gave up a child, a baby girl, due to circumstances that spiraled out of her control. She had been just 21 then, in love with a man who disappeared when she needed him most. Her parents, ashamed and afraid of public disgrace, forced her to give the baby up for adoption. They never spoke of it again, and neither did she. Instead, Serafina buried herself in her career, building an empire to numb the ache in her heart. Now, 30 years later, she lived alone in her mansion, surrounded by awards and art but void of warmth. She had employees, of course, gardeners, a chef, a driver, and recently, a new housemaid. Her name was Ada. Ada was 29, calm, respectful, and hardworking. There was something unusual about her, not in a bad way, but in a manner that drew attention. She had eyes that spoke volumes and a smile that carried both sorrow and strength. She had joined the household staff only 2 months earlier, replacing the former maid who retired abruptly. From the beginning, Ada handled her duties with a quiet grace that Serafina noticed but didn't comment on. The older woman seldom paid attention to her domestic staff beyond giving clear instructions and ensuring discipline. But with Ada, it was different. There was something oddly familiar about the young woman. Her eyes, her voice, her aura. One afternoon, as Serafina returned from a charity gala, she found Ada humming in the kitchen. The song she was humming struck a forgotten chord. "Where did you hear that song?" Serafina asked, standing by the doorway, stunned. Ada turned, a bit startled. "Oh, it's just a lullaby. My grandmother used to sing it." Serafina felt her heart lurch. That lullaby was the very one she had sung to her baby, just once, on the day she gave her up. "What's your grandmother's name?" she asked, trying to sound casual. She passed on, "Ma." Her name was Mama Didi. Serafina nearly dropped her handbag. Mama Didi. It couldn't be. Back then, when she gave birth secretly in a remote clinic, it was Mama Didi, a retired midwife, who assisted in the delivery and handled the adoption process. Serafina had begged the woman to find her child a good home. "You were raised by Mama Didi?" Serafina's voice trembled. "Yes, Ma. She took me in after my adopted parents died in a car accident when I was 5. She told me I was adopted." Serafina's knees buckled. She reached for a stool and sat down, her mind spinning. "How did you end up working here?" Ada paused, her eyes meeting Serafina's for the first time with unusual intensity. I wanted to find someone. Mama Didi gave me a name before she died. She said my biological mother's name was Serafina. I started searching everywhere. When I saw a job opening at a mansion belonging to a woman with the same name, I applied. I just wanted to know if it could be you." Tears flooded Serafina's eyes. She stood slowly, crossing the space between them. You think I'm your mother?" Ada nodded slowly, unsure of what to expect. "I don't know for certain, but I had to try." In that moment, the years collapsed. Time turned inward. The woman who had buried her pain behind diamonds and designer heels broke down like a child. She pulled Ada into her arms, weeping into her shoulder. "I looked for you. I wanted to find you, but they told me the records were sealed. They said I had no right. Ada cried too, unsure whether to feel joy, sorrow, or disbelief. I've lived my whole life wondering why I was given away, she whispered. But now, seeing you, I understand. They sat in the kitchen for hours, talking, crying, holding hands like two broken halves, finally finding their whole. But the shock wasn't over. As the days went on, Serafina ordered a DNA test, which confirmed what they both had already come to believe. Ada was indeed her daughter. The test results came with another surprise. You're pregnant. Serafina gasped, reading the medical notes. Ada blushed and nodded. Yes, 2 months. I was going to tell you after I confirmed who you were. Serafina clutched the document to her chest. She was going to be a grandmother. The thought both thrilled and terrified her. Could she really reclaim all she had lost? The days that followed were filled with mixed emotions. Serafina insisted that Ada no longer worked as a maid. She offered her a room in the guest wing and made her see a private doctor. But Ada resisted. I don't want to be a charity case, she said. I'm grateful to find you, but I want to earn my place here. You're not a charity case, Serafina said firmly. You're my daughter, my flesh and blood. Their relationship blossomed over the next few weeks. Serafina introduced Ada to her circle as her long-lost niece to avoid public scrutiny. But inside her home, she cherished every moment with the daughter she never thought she'd see again. Then came another twist. One afternoon, as Ada helped clean Serafina's old files, she stumbled across a box of letters, unopened, yellowed with time. These are for you, she said, handing them to Serafina. Serafina's heart stopped. They were letters from David, her old lover, the man who vanished all those years ago. She opened them with trembling fingers. One by one, she read his pleas for forgiveness, his confession of illness, his desperate attempts to find her and their baby. The letters never reached her. Her parents had hidden them. She read the last one. If you ever find our daughter, tell her I never stopped loving her, or you. Serafina wept again, this time for the love she lost and the family that had conspired to keep her in pain. But she also smiled, because fate, after all its detours and delays, had brought her daughter home. The day Ada gave birth, Serafina was right by her side. As she cradled the newborn boy, tears streamed down her cheeks. My grandson, she whispered. Ada looked up from her hospital bed. I was thinking, if you're okay with it, I'd like to name him David. Serafina nodded, unable to speak, her heart overflowing. From that moment, Serafina became a woman reborn. No longer lonely, no longer imprisoned by her past. She had a daughter, a grandson, and a second chance at life. And all it took was opening the door to a maid who turned out to be her miracle.